So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So, see, some of y'all had to clear those browser histories up, huh? Don't worry, I got you. The browser histories be more important than your family sometimes. You gotta get those clear first. Then you can make sure your family got something to eat in the house. You know what I mean? But remember, man, question everything. You should. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it.
Because why are we trying to leave Earth so bad? What's going on? NASA's Artemis program will land the first woman and man on the moon by 2024. For what? Why? The Dragonfly. Now this is going to explore the prebiotic chemistry and habitability on dozens of sites on Saturn's moon, Titan. Why? The Europa Clipper. Now NASA is planning to conduct a detailed reconnaissance mission to understand if we can survive on Europa. Why? NASA is planning to house a full-time 6-man crew on the U.S. space station. Why? The James Webb Space Telescope is designed to peer back into galaxies and also search for extraterrestrial life form. Why? Now, outside of NASA, you got SpaceX, and one of their main goals, long-term goals, is to make life multiplanetary. But short-term, they want to get people on Mars. Why? Now, according to Google, last year alone, NASA spent $73.2 billion on space exploration alone. For what? And SpaceX, which is a privately owned company, spent $5.2 billion on space exploration. Now, all of this is very public information on the NASA website, on the SpaceX website. Why are you spending so much money trying to leave a planet that you said was okay? Why are we spending so much money on things that we claim don't exist? All of the UFOs that we're seeing that's down, all of the ETs and stories of sightings are all things that people made up in their mind and never really happened. It was a weather balloon. They don't know nothing about it, right? Not only are the super wealthy building bunkers, but there is actually something called the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which is a bunker, a space station. Allegedly, but y'all go look it up yourselves. There's 2,000 feet below the ground, situated on thousands of springs to make it earthquake proof underground. If there's no aliens, no UFOs, or no life out there that we know of or heard of or have seen and confirmed, why are we spending billions on this and building bunkers underground if there's no imminent threat? What's really going on? Why y'all trying to get off the planet? Could it be that they're planning for something that's really out there that they're not telling us about? I don't know, friends. I ain't trying to get y'all up in too much of a tizzy, but I'm gonna call y'all back later on, okay? Bye. Because
listen, don't get me wrong. I want to planet hop just as much as the next person. You know what I'm saying? But spending 70-something billion is, like, I heard something. The reason why I say that is because I was scrolling the other day on Instagram, bro, and I heard somebody, like, and I didn't fact check it, but it sounded about right. Like, how much money it would cost to end, like, world hunger or you know what I'm saying, homelessness or something like that, bro. And it was in like the billions, bro. So if we pause like 1 year, we could probably wipe out or maybe just take a big chunk out of the people that are starving on this planet. That's my thing. But don't get me wrong, I want to planet hop one day when I figure out how to get on an airplane without losing my mind. You know what I'm saying? But one day I may want to planet hop too. So I like the fact that they're doing that and they're figuring out ways to do that one day. If you can't tell already, our planet is compromised.
We're 6 days into 2025 and I could give two hells and, okay? Do you know what that means? That's my way of saying I could not care less anymore. Because now they're running stories like this. NASA scientists on alert after dent in Earth's magnetic field could risk our way of life as we know it. But y'all done knew about it since 1958, okay? And what? I don't give two hells and, okay? What are y'all trying to scare us with today? You can't scare us no more. Literally. I'm talking about there are drones the size of cars and homes over New Jersey every night. I don't give two hells and what? It is literally styrofoam fog outside that's making people sick up there in Michigan and all over the United States. I don't give two hells and what, okay? We are to the point where we could not care less. Not one care could be given less than we do now. Because every day it's something different with y'all. Y'all always trying to mess with us. So 2025 is going to be the year of I can't give two hells and what, okay? If you literally told me there was a T-Rex outside of my house right now, I would be like, I don't give two hells and what? I still got to go to work tomorrow and get gas because it was too cold to get it this afternoon, so I'm going to wait till it's even colder in the morning to get it because that's the way I live my life. And what? So anyways, guys, I hope that things get better. It ain't looking too good, but you just got to look up and say, I'll give two hells and what? Okay? That's Nikki's way of saying, I could not care less. Not one care to be given less, okay? I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, she invited to the cookout. I don't normally speak for everybody, you know what I mean? But she's invited to the cookout, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'm just sitting around waiting to figure out like when we can stop paying some of these bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they gonna make a move, they need to make a move so we can not have to pay these bills, bro. That's all I'm saying. Or if they gonna do something, you know what I mean? Like, hack into the FICA bill, the Equifax, the Experience, all of those buildings. You know what I mean? Hack those. But yeah, she's invited to the cookout though.
NASA just made a groundbreaking discovery of a record number of ancient stars in a distant galaxy. NASA's Webb telescope just discovered 44 ancient stars in the Dragon Arc. That's 6.5 billion light years away from Earth in the Able 370 galaxy cluster. Researchers used gravitational lensing to identify the stars. The phenomenon occurs when light bends around a large celestial body. That makes objects in space look closer than they are. They said without using this technique, it would be like trying to find dust on the moon. And even with gravitational lensing acting as a magnifying glass, researchers can usually only spot one or a few stars at a time. But the usually spiral-shaped Dragon Arc was turned into a hall of mirrors of cosmic proportions, allowing researchers to see dozens of stars at once. And a lot of the stars they found were red supergiants, which are the biggest stars in the universe by volume. And the galaxy they belong to is very old. It was formed when the universe was about half its current age, which is 13.7 billion years old. Researchers said observing stars like this will help them study dark matter in space, which they couldn't do with the handful of other stars they were previously able to observe.
Yeah, but what about the fog on Earth? Like, I get what they doing right now, and I'm normally the biggest proponent of what NASA got going on and any type of space discoveries and explorations. But right now, we busy. We busy here. We got to know what's going on here. Divert your attention here. Figure out what's going on here. Like, you know what I mean? I'm normally with y'all, but not right now. We got other things going on.
This was a big realization I had when I left the U.S. Our food supply is almost fully synthetic, bro. We've all seen the fruit that looks like rubber. I've never seen fruit that looks like that outside of the U.S. Also, back home, our grocery stores mainly sell us pre-packaged meat that is covered in nitrates to preserve the meat and give it that red color. But these same nitrates cause botulism in our bodies, which is no joke. Botulism attacks the body's nerves and causes difficulty with breathing. It causes muscle paralysis and even death. And the pesticides they're spraying on our fruit and vegetables doesn't help much either. And if you want real food in the States, you're paying an arm and a leg for it. If you've been eating clean and exercising regularly, but you're still noticing your body is inflamed, that's why. I'm currently in the Philippines and most meats aren't even pre-packaged. They're also not as red as what we're used to seeing. And when you eat it, it's like the food actually gets turned into energy instead of making you feel sluggish and bloated. Like, what the f are they doing to our food supply?
Police officer named Robert Klein came forward with video and his own personal account of something that he saw back in April of 2022. He said that on that night, and this is a video right there, his patrol car filled with a kind of light that he'd never seen before. He said it glowed bright green, then it changed to red, then at one point it changed to orange, and it hovered near his car before zipping across a nearby lake when he aimed his spotlight, the spotlight from the patrol car, he aimed it at it. So Officer Klein sat with what he saw for more than 2 years, but he could never really shake it from his mind. And finally he contacted Ben Hansen, a former FBI agent and host of UFO Witness on Discovery Plus, and Ben actually put together a team to go out and investigate, and they found more witnesses. I joined them for 3 days. Here's some of what we learned. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I'm John.
Brian.
Nice to meet you.
Brian, good to see you again, man. You too, you too.
How you doing?
Hey, thanks for meeting up with us.
Absolutely. You know, this case is kind of exploding.
I met up with former FBI agent Ben Hansen, Navy veteran John Nelson, and NASA consultant Dr. Doug Buettner. We're in Fairfield County, Connecticut, investigating a series of UFO sightings.
Right now, we're heading over to talk with one of our primary witnesses. Her name is Diane.
Diane is one of several people who saw something unexplained in the sky near this reservoir close to Reading.
Hi, I'm John. Nice to meet you.
And this is Brian for News Nation.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is the community center where everything happened.
Yeah.
Diane works late nights cleaning the community center, and in 2022 saw something that still gives her chills.
Could you walk through it for us and tell kind of Brian what it was you witnessed?
Sure. I had, I do my usual stuff and, take the trash out, take recycle out. So I'm kind of back and forth in the building, and it happened to be toward the end of my shift, and I was bringing the garbage out, and it's back on the back deck of the building, and I just happened to notice a light in the sky, and I'm always a sky watcher, so I just was wondering, is it a plane or whatever? And the way that it was moving, I was like, there's no way that's a plane, because it was, just moving too erratically.
Can you show us the area where you saw the objects?
Sure. Yeah.
Diane uses a laser to explain where she saw what she describes as several orbs.
So where was the...
The initial light came from this direction.
Okay.
And it was kind of moving back and forth here and there. And then when it came over to here, I noticed it was two.
So it kind of wavered back and forth.
Yes, because when it was out so far, that's why I thought it was a plane, because I'm like watching it. I'm like...
Now, I know a lot of people gonna be like, see, that's what we're seeing. People were shining a bunch of little beam lights into the sky like that. No, you would see where it's coming from. Come on now. Don't be like that. Don't make us like kick you out the family, bro. Like, no, like, cause I could hear people right now just being dumb and saying that. No, that's not what it is, bro. No, don't let them, don't be that gullible. You know what I mean? Don't let them get to you like that.
What is that? Trying to figure out what direction it's going, because that's not a usual direction for an airplane, I don't think, like around here.
So almost just to the right of this tree right here.
Yeah, like where it was clear, because that's what I said. I'm like, oh my God, I can really see this thing, because I'm looking up, watching this thing just above my head, like.
You're watching it watch you.
Yeah, okay. like I thought, like there. Oh, what is that down there?
Now, it's kind of hard to see because we have a ceiling of clouds right here, but you see where that's reflecting on the top of the cloud?
Yes.
Do you by any, estimate or be able to say where it was higher or lower than that?
It was probably about that high, but a larger object.
Diane was so scared she called police and showed an officer pictures that have since been accidentally deleted when she reset her phone.
So it wasn't a 911 call, it was non-emergency, but they still generate notes about the caller. And this is what caught our eye. It said, caller states that she was closing up the community center. She was seeing strange lights above the trees that she described as UFO activity. The caller wished for an officer to be present while she walked to her car since she was freaked out.
Where are all the other flights? There were far more than this.
Hansen and his team analyzed air traffic and determined what Diane saw could not be a plane. And they received similar reports from another witness at a nearby elementary school.
There is no aircraft in the area. And even though I have it pulled up to the time the sighting was, if there was an aircraft, there's 5 minutes. Anything within 15 minutes of here would be shown on the screen right now.
It's all eerily similar to what police officer Robert Klein saw in the same area around the...
Come on! What more evidence y'all need? Huh? What more evidence do you need? You got people here analyzing it and breaking it down like it's filmed from a football game right now. Like, come on, bro. Like, no, they can't lie to us. They can't.
Same time, he caught the bright light on camera after it flew away from him. This is what Officer Klein described to Ashley earlier this month.
There was a really strong light. It lit up the entire cab of my cruiser to the point where I was having a hard time driving because I really couldn't see it. I was blinded by it. It was a perfect sphere, and it almost looked like plasma moving constantly. And I was perplexed and confused at what I was looking at.
This reenactment.
Now that's pretty interesting that he says that, because I didn't even think about that. Like, these things are actually a distraction to people driving. I'm surprised we haven't heard about more collisions or accidents happening on the road from these things being in the sky. Because I know me, my attention span is already short. And if I see that, I'm definitely looking, and a split second taking your eyes off the road. That's all you need, is a split second for something to go wrong. So I'm surprised we haven't heard about more incidences.
Video shows what Officer Klein says he saw. He was barely into the midnight shift when he says his patrol car was filled with a bright light. It changed colors and then zipped across the reservoir.
I've been doing this job for 25 years. I've seen my fair share of drones, meteors, and everything else. And I knew that this was something that I've never come across. It wasn't a drone, I can guarantee you that. And it was something I still, to this day, I'm perplexed. And like I said, I was fairly close to this thing, 30 feet. I got a very close-up view of it, and I froze. I wasn't in fear. I just was really trying to understand what exactly I was looking at. And to this day, I'm just perplexed by it.
We met up with Officer Klein, who's nervous to do another interview because he's gotten some backlash here in town after he first spoke out. But we're following him now. He did agree to take us to the spot where he saw the unidentified object.
That's crazy that people are still getting backlash for speaking or saying that something isn't right, or that they believe, or that they witnessed something. Like, this is 2025. You can no longer call, like, you're actually the crazy person at this stage of things if you say you don't believe. Like, it's more people, I think, today that believe and have seen and experienced something than people that are saying, oh, that's just fake, that's phony, it is what it is. Like, you can no longer do that to people.
Right there. Officer Klein took us right to the spot where he saw the bright light.
Because I know they're about 30 feet.
And he pointed out where his cruiser was and just how close the object was to him. He says it was right at the tree line.
Top of that branch sticking out.
Hansen and his scientific team came back after dark using a drone with a spotlight to measure just how bright the light was that Officer Klein saw. They also used night vision to look for any other strange lights. Based on what Officer Klein said, how close was this light?
Well, it's pretty incredible, because he's right over here, right?
Yeah.
He says he parked the car here because right up around the bend is when it started kind of glowing, and he noticed something was weird. Gradually getting brighter. He stops here, but just like he said, he was about only 30 feet from this skinny tree, which is right here. Let's say about halfway up is where he's pointing. And that place is at about 50 feet to the top of it, 30, 50 feet.
So it was
up.
Below the trees, for sure.
Below the tree, and it's in front, right? So imagine something that's like the size of like you said, a Mini Cooper, right? And it's right sitting in front of the tree.
I mean, he said it was below the tree, and I'm telling you, I met the officer, I met Diane, I met others, like nice people. I was just saying here, I don't think these people are making this up. I really don't. I mean, I got a really good vibe from them.
You say all hell will be paid, that all hell must be paid if they don't release the hostages.
Well, do I have to define it for you? Look, all hell will break out. If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is.
You say all hell.
Hey, if you grew up in households like we did, bro, we understand that type of language right there, bro. Who don't?
Hey, yo, could it be? Could it actually be Project Bluebeam? I mean, think about it, family. December has been a very long 5 years. We've had a lot of drones, UFO or UAP sightings in the sky. We've had the Pope come out and say he's going to open up 5 portals that never been opened before in the sacred ritual on Christmas Eve. These are all facts. Anybody can look that up for educational entertainment purposes only. Then you got volcanic eruptions and mutated sharks are swimming in that area. Then we also get reports about there's USOs where these objects are coming from the ocean. I don't know, man. A lot is going on, and we got TikTok ban coming up next month, so I don't know where I'm gonna be. I won't be on this app, unfortunately. It looks like it, so leave what y'all think in the comments below.
Finally, we're gonna work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. I started building social media to give people a voice. A lot has happened over the last several years. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political. Recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. We're gonna get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. We're gonna get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. Simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender. We're changing how we enforce our policies. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations, bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. It's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. Now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. Finally, we're going to work.
All I'm going to say is, okay. We're going to see, because I hear the complaints from the people right now, what everybody's saying. You know what I mean? About what's happening in people's videos and different things when they talk about certain subjects and stuff like that, which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? If you're not causing harm to anyone, then why shouldn't you be allowed to say what you want to say, especially when you're saying things about what you're seeing or what you're witnessing? You know what I mean? Like, it's gotten way out of hand. So I'm just going to sit back and see if the ones who are saying they're going to change and do things really live up to that. We'll see, though.
Guys, they're back, and we got a great visual on it. I've got somebody getting their other camera out and see if we can get a different angle from me. But it's right there.
That's so wild. I'm taking a picture of it.
All right, I have a witness. You see the light in the sky, right?
I feel like my phone doesn't capture. I feel like my phone doesn't capture it. I feel like his picture was better.
Can you video it and then send it to me real quick?
Where from that?
Are you on an iPhone too?
Yeah. Like, look, I feel like, well, you can kind of see it.
There it is, right there, guys. There it is, right there.
And the crazy thing is, whatever that thing is, or whatever's inside of it is probably saying the same thing he was saying. There he is, right there. There he is, guys. Don't worry, I got him. I got him. Yeah, exactly who we was looking for. Same thing, probably.
There are growing concerns about bird flu after the CDC yesterday reported America's first deadly case of the virus in Louisiana. So the first deadly case in the country, and it happened in Louisiana. Here is what we know. The patient, who was older than 65, had underlying medical conditions and was hospitalized last month with severe respiratory symptoms. That person was sickened after being exposed to infected birds and their backyard poultry flock. In fact, CDC testing found that they were infected by the same strain of the virus that's circulating in wild birds. And this is important. Scientists say the virus found in the patient did have some potentially worrying mutations that might help the virus infect people more easily. But Louisiana health officials say there is still no evidence of human-to-human transmission, no additional cases in the state. The CDC says that the current risk posed by bird flu remains low for the general public.
This is a concern. The first ever bird flu death in the U.S. was reported in Louisiana. State officials say the patient was over 65 years old, had other medical conditions, but this comes after more than 60 people in the U.S. were infected with the bird flu last year. And of course, as people are starting to see more and more headlines about bird flu, what are the symptoms of bird flu and how can people protect themselves against it, especially when it's like regular flu season and it gets kind of confusing?
It does. It gets very confusing. Different flu viruses, influenza A and B, which cause the regular flu that you're reporting around the country, and we're seeing people coming into the ERs and doctors' offices, different than H5N1, which is the bird flu, which you're mentioning, which is the first death in the United States, a severe case. The majority of avian flu cases, H5N1, are very, very mild conjunctivitis eye infections. This severe case is something that we're watching. Nothing to do yet except don't deal with any sick animals. If you've got friends or if you have wildlife that come through your yard, stay away if possible. If you're a poultry worker, take special precautions, washing hands, wiping down surfaces. If you know of anybody that's had the bird flu, get to your doctor so that you can just be monitored and checked. But in general, for the public, it's a very low risk.
I didn't even think about that. The poultry workers, like back home where I lived at, there was a plant, Claxton Poultry, and a lot of people work there, and I've heard about the conditions there already before this. So imagine this now, and if they probably haven't changed up the conditions, bro. Like, this one here is definitely terrifying.
What you need to know about bird flu. H5N1 is the name. As of right now, the only people who are really being affected are people who have direct contact with sick livestock. So people in the cattle and dairy industry and people in the poultry industry. There's been no human-to-human transmission as of this moment. The typical tests that your doctor does in their office for rapid flu testing can just test for flu A and flu B. And for flu A, it's not going to differentiate the types and the strains. So if you have red eyes or have some contact with sick livestock or poultry, then they can send your sample for further testing to be tested specifically for H5N1. So what most people need to know is don't go near sick livestock, don't touch wild birds, and don't drink unpasteurized milk.
So the dude from New Orleans got a divorce. Then instead of his whole family, he said that he was joining ISIS. He said that he contemplated between his whole family and joining ISIS, and he decided to do the latter. This is like a crazy story all around. Like, instead of having a midlife crisis like a lot of people that are divorced do and get like a 20-year-old girlfriend in a muscle car, no, he was called to join ISIS and then drove from Texas to New Orleans to carry out this attack. Yeah, this is a really crazy story, like, all around. CNN evidently has the clips of the video, and it says it's dark, so you can't really see his face. But divorced, and he then decided to join ISIS. I don't really see how one gets divorced and joins ISIS. Like, I don't know, me personally, I would join, like, a men's league and play basketball. Or, I don't know, get a new car. But really sad story all around. That's crazy.
Let's talk about it. So I've been seeing a lot of people on social media talking about, you know, people need to be careful when they're visiting New Orleans during Mardi Gras. And yeah, you really do. Y'all just don't realize New Orleans, especially New Orleans, is like a spiritual playground, y'all. Y'all have to realize, like, just because y'all don't see this stuff on a regular, especially people that's not from that area, from the city and stuff like that, just because y'all don't see this stuff or hear about this stuff on a regular does not mean it is not true, y'all. I'm telling y'all, New Orleans is like a spiritual playground. And I get it, when you go to Mardi Gras, you're there to have a good time. You're there for the whole experience. You want to come back, you want to bring souvenirs, you want to try the new foods, you want to let any random person read your palms and record it, and, you know, for the whole aesthetic. But sometimes you just gotta think before you go into these knickknack shops.
Sometimes you gotta just say no. Just say no. You know how them commercials back in the day used to tell people, just say no. Sometimes you gotta say no, bro. When all the group I was with was going to read their poem, guess where I was? One of them long green cups, just sitting there, just drinking it, bro. Yeah, that's where I was. That's where I was at. Yep, going to get another one of those or get a refill or whatever I did. Yeah.
Shops and you buying all these different objects, y'all don't know what these objects have connected to them, y'all. And I get it, you know, sometimes y'all like, just live, like, it's not that serious, but it is that serious when you go back home and it's something attached to you, or you don't know what's going on and why things are. It's some evil people in this world. And am I saying that all these people in New Orleans are evil? No. It's so many good people in New Orleans, and I'm not saying that all voodoo is bad. I'm not very, very educated on voodoo, but I do know voodoo isn't the same. All voodoo is different. There's so many different type of voodoos. And that's just something that I don't want any type of connection with. But when y'all going down there and y'all going in all these different knick-knack shops, bringing home all these different objects that y'all don't know nothing about just because it's cute, these little dolls and antiques, and like I said, letting people read your palms and getting your energy, it's crazy. I've been seeing all type of people talk about how they've been seeing these like vampire-like things, and I've heard a few different stories about the vampires in New Orleans and stuff like that, and they're not what you think, like the vampires with fangs and all that. It's the complete opposite of what you see on TV. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you see it on TV or you hear some type of creature on TV, it is real. Most of the time it's real. They didn't just come up with these ideas out of nowhere. But it's not exactly what you think. It's not like how it is on TV. But that's for another topic. If y'all want me to talk about like the vampires, real vampires, then I'll talk about that in another video.